Hi, so what's your name and your school?
My name is Lisa Stroll, and I'm from Denver Academy of Torah.
Great. Can you tell me a little about your role at the school and your work with the Judaic side specifically?
I'm the Dean of Student and Academic Affairs for our kindergarten through 8th grade. We're a kindergarten through 12th grade school. And I work equally with the Judaic Studies teachers and the General Studies teachers. My role specifically is working on curriculum development, teacher mentoring and supervision and evaluation, and getting inside the classrooms to see really how the kids are responding to the learning that they're doing. I work with the head of school on making informed decisions about proper teacher placement, subjects to be taught, curriculum to be taught, and overall, I'm the point person at the school for teachers, students, and parents.
Great. And what is the project you're working on here at Harvard?
So I'm looking at bringing in a social-emotional piece into every classroom. So not that it's something that goes on in isolation, in a vacuum, but actually being part of bringing in something, working with each teacher at each grade level, and bringing in book studies for kindergarten through 2nd grade, 3 and 4, and 5 and 6, and then 7 and 8, and working on a social emotional piece where I have an opportunity to be with the students. A lot of times the students end up getting sent my way on a discipline referral basis, and that's their attachment to me. I have such a connection with teachers and for those students that I have an opportunity to be with, but this is going to afford me an opportunity to get into every classroom at least every 3 weeks for about 35-40 minutes and collaborate with the teachers on what's going on with the students in their classrooms.
Wonderful. And what's the kind of Jewish inspiration or focus of this project?
I think Midot development is really critical. More and more we're seeing kids come to school, and it's not as though it's not happening at home, but with their attachment to devices and televisions and computers outside of school, they're not interacting enough outside of school with other kids. So their interaction time is in school, and how do we make those interactions most positive, bring it into the framework of what we do and who we are as a people, and how the Midot are so important to everything that they're doing.
Wonderful. Can you tell me how this fits into the rest of the Judaic kind of mission or the curriculum that you currently have?
So I think it ties in because we are not teaching subjects, we're teaching kids. And that's what it comes down to. Every teacher has their area of expertise and their subject area. And I'm not looking at, well, this is going to come out of general studies time, this is going to come out of Judaic studies time. This is the time to be with the kids and do this, and it's refocusing that we have this enormous curriculum to cover, but we have this piece this is the kid curriculum, and this is what kids need, and for them to grow up and be the leaders of the next generation, they need that social emotional piece much more than what they just get from being out on the playground.
And where are you drawing from in terms of creating this kind of resource?
Anywhere I can. Teachers are really and truly the best collaborators and sharers of everything. And in that, I've been, in contact with other schools, with other professionals that I've worked with in the past, and looking at all of this with my administrative team at school and what's going to be best. So taking it the way of a book study, looking at also how Judaic text comes in to anything that we're learning as well. Even if it's during one of the general studies classes, it's all part of it and all encompassing.
Great. I know you were previously in Atlanta, and I know you've had experiences in different places, so looking kind of at the field, what do you see as some of the challenges in Jewish day school education? Like, what keeps you up at night as a leader, and what do you think about?
The thing that keeps me up the most at night, aside from this piece, and how do we create that kid-centric environment, is their inspiration and attachment from the people that they're learning from. Regardless of the subject matter, it's the connections that they're making with those people, and how are those teachers connecting with their students to bring the subject matter alive. I think that we have this. There's such a richness in everything that we're teaching them. How are we making it the most relevant possible so they are engaged and wanting to learn?
Do you have any ideas about how to do that, Cecily? Or?
I think there's a tremendous amount that has to do with the communication factor. There's a tremendous amount with the connection and the communication, and I think that leads to, in tying in whatever text or whatever literature we can tie in tying in the purposefulness. So, like when I think of the LRP piece, I think of what are we doing to infuse the religious practice, regardless of what's going on outside of school? What are we bringing in school? What is the passion with which we live with that our students see? And I think that message it's critical for our teachers to have, and our teachers to understand that when the students see you, when this is fun and they're impassioned, that Judaism, it's not a chore. Judaism is there's a love for it, and it's fun, and all of the rituals and the customs and the laws, they're there for us to enjoy. And I think that that's critical.
It's beautiful. Can you talk a little more about Harvard specifically and how you feel it's going to inform your practice as a leader?
Thus far, it's been a phenomenal experience. I was privileged enough to be sponsored for the AOL program a couple of years ago. And being here now, being back here, being in a different position with more responsibility, I find that the people that we are being presented with, the things that we're being presented with are, it really is giving us direction in where we would want to go. So you can pick and choose. There's so many different things that you can really focus on. But what's that area you want to focus on, and how are you going to make informed decisions about your school and your practice based on that? And I think that the presenters that are presenting to us this week are really giving us an opportunity to think. Everybody's having us pause and think about how does this relate to what you're doing. And, on top of that, when we have the Albee High sessions, bringing it back to the day school world, it's critical.
Is there, I think you mentioned one before, is there a session that stands out to you as being really impactful particularly?
The session today, Ebony Birdwell Mitchell, I believe was her name, she was speaking about, creating school culture and what that looks like. And I think that one of the things that I really gained from her is the idea of all the different subcultures that take place in it's not just a school culture. There's a teacher culture, there's a kid culture, there's an admin culture, there's all of these different pieces of it, and then there are subcultures among that, and really understanding what culture is, so then you can really be mindful about what you are doing to improve the culture in any area of the school. So that's really it's been on my mind.
What's the first thing you're going to do or say or be on your mind when you go back to school?
I think that, when I was here a couple years ago, I came back to school and I felt like I was almost stuck in neutral. There were so many different things, and what can I do and what can I fix and what can I change? And I think this time the experience has given me the opportunity to realize there's always going to be things to fix, there's always going to be things to change, and this is where I want to start. So I think that part of the piece is looking at I'm seeing how the project that that I want to pursue really is a part of school culture. And change, and working on that culture. And it's not something that's going to happen overnight. It's not something that's going to change right away, and it's going to take time.
Wonderful. Good luck.
All right. Thank you.